Albert wiped the soil from his hands and surveyed the small garden behind his cottage. The vegetables grew well in the temperate climate of Seraph 7, a colony world on the edge of human-controlled space. Most settlers avoided this region, too close to the Draconian Empire's borders, too dangerous for comfort. But Albert had always preferred solitude to safety. He was reaching for his watering can when he noticed the eyes. Two luminous amber orbs peered at him from behind the compost bin, reflecting the afternoon sunlight. Albert froze, his heart hammering. Dragons didn't venture this far into human territory, not unless something was very wrong. "Easy now," Albert murmured, keeping his voice soft. "I'm not going to hurt you." The creature emerged slowly, a small dragon, no larger than a retriever, with iridescent scales that shifted from deep purple to midnight blue. Its wings hung limp at its sides, torn and bloodied. Fresh wounds crisscrossed its flanks. The young dragon swayed on its feet, exhaustion evident in every movement. Albert had heard the stories. Dragons were proud, fierce, capable of leveling cities with their breath weapons. The Draconian Empire had been humanity's adversary for 3 generations, locked in a Cold War that occasionally flared into violence. This creature should have been his enemy. Instead, all he saw was a frightened child. "You're hurt," Albert said, taking a cautious step forward. The dragon flinched but didn't flee. Its eyes held an intelligence that was unmistakably sentient, unmistakably desperate. "Wait here." He returned moments later with a bowl of stew, left over from his dinner, still warm, and a blanket. The dragon watched him with wary curiosity as he set the bowl down and backed away. After a long moment, the creature limped forward and began eating with ravenous hunger. Albert sat on his porch steps, giving the dragon space. "Rough day, huh?" The dragon paused, tilting its head. Then, to Albert's astonishment, it spoke, not with words, but directly into his mind. A telepathic whisper, weak and halting. "Hunted. Separated from clutch. Thank you, human." "Albert," he corrected gently. "My name is Albert. What's yours?" Another pause. "Katniss." Over the next 3 days, Katniss remained in Albert's garden. He tended her wounds with the medical supplies he had, shared his meals, and built a small shelter among the tomato vines where she could rest undisturbed. She was young, barely past her hatching year. She communicated, and had been caught in an ambush meant for her mother, a high-ranking member of the Draconian Council. Albert learned that not all dragons supported the Empire's aggressive stance toward humanity. Katniss's family were reformers, advocating for peace. That made them targets. Assassins had struck during a diplomatic journey, and Katniss had barely escaped with her life. "You should contact your people," Albert told her on the 3rd evening as they shared roasted vegetables under the stars. "Let them know you're alive." "Cannot. Communication devices destroyed. And human networks monitor all dragon frequencies." "Reach out, and enemies find me first," Albert frowned. "So what do you do?" Katniss gazed at the sky, where distant stars marked the heart of her empire. "Wait. Heal." Hope family still searches. The soldiers arrived at dawn on the 4th day. Albert woke to the thunder of boots and the whine of military transports. Through his window, he saw them, a full platoon of armored troops, both human and dragon, bearing the insignia of the Draconian Royal Guard. At their head stood a massive dragon, easily 3 times Katniss's size, scales gleaming like polished obsidian. His heart sank. They'd found her. Albert rushed outside to find the garden surrounded. Katniss emerged from her shelter, wings half spread in a defensive posture despite her injuries. The soldiers formed a perimeter, weapons trained not on the young dragon, but outward, as if protecting rather than attacking. The massive dragon stepped forward, and Albert felt the weight of its telepathic presence. Ancient, powerful, and currently radiating relief so profound it was almost overwhelming. Dotard Katniss's defiance crumbled. "Mother." The reunion was brief but intense. Then Katniss's mother turned her attention to Albert, who stood frozen on his porch, uncertain whether he was about to be incinerated for harboring a fugitive. "Human gardener," she spoke aloud, her voice like distant thunder. "I am Seraph Commander Theraxis, High Counselor of the 3rd Wing. You sheltered my daughter when she was hunted and wounded. You asked nothing in return. You showed kindness to one you had every reason to fear." Albert swallowed hard. She was hurt. She was a kid. What else was I supposed to do? Thraxis studied him with eyes that had witnessed centuries. Most of your kind would have reported her location to your military, collected the bounty, or killed her themselves. She paused, and something almost like humor touched her mental voice. Most of my kind would have done the same. Were positions reversed? Yeah, well, Albert said, finding his courage. I'm not most people. And Katniss isn't most dragons, I reckon. A low rumble emanated from Thraxis, dragon laughter. Indeed, she is not. She inherited her father's insufferable idealism. The commander lowered her massive head until she was nearly eye level with Albert. You have earned a debt that the Third Wing does not forget. Speak your desire, human. Wealth? Territory? Protection? Albert glanced at Katniss, who watched him with those luminous amber eyes. He thought about the garden, the quiet life he'd built, the small act of decency that had somehow brought him to this moment. I want the war to end, he said simply. I'm tired of enemies. Tired of fear. If your family really advocates for peace, then keep doing that. Make it real. That's what I want. Silence fell over the garden. The soldiers exchanged glances. Thraxis stared at Albert for a long moment, and he wondered if he'd overstepped, if he'd insulted her somehow. Then she laughed again, louder this time. You feed my daughter vegetables and stew, ask for nothing, and when offered treasures, you request the one thing that cannot be given lightly. She spread her wings wide. Very well, Albert the gardener. I cannot promise you peace. That requires more than one family's will. But I can promise you this. The Third Wing will remember what you did here. When the time comes for humans and dragons to speak without weapons drawn, your name will be invoked. Your kindness will be the bridge. Katniss approached Albert, pressing her snout gently against his hand. Thank you, friend. We will meet again. As the soldiers prepared to depart, Thraxis spoke once more. We leave guards nearby, not to watch you, but to protect you. Those who hunted Katniss may learn what you did. You are under the Third Wing's protection now. Then they were gone, leaving Albert alone in his garden with the rising sun and the profound sense that he'd witnessed something important, something that might echo far beyond his small plot of land. He picked up his watering can and returned to his tomatoes. The galaxy was vast and complex, full of ancient hatreds and bitter wars, but it was also full of moments like these, small kindnesses that might, just might, change everything.